Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tay, and actually, I am one of the early students at the University of Nicosia. So I want to thank everyone for this wonderful opportunity that was given to me in the early days when the master's program was open to earn myself a full scholarship and to strengthen my knowledge in this emerging space. Do you think that these are refugees in this picture? Or do you think these are people waiting to onboard the blockchain cruise party? Actually, these are British tourists. They are waiting to be evacuated from the island of Lombok when the earthquake has hit the island. Now, as a tourist, when you go, what you do is the first thing, you check in the hotel and you put your passport in the locker or in the safe, and you go out, explore the city. And those people were doing the same thing. Until the earthquake happened, the hotels collapsed, and they lost their documents. On that beach, they felt what those people are feeling. 936 million people that are vulnerable. And 290 million children under the age of 5 do not have birth certificates. 68.3 million people this year only got displaced. 7.2 million people in the UK are undocumented. But luckily, there is one man, and there is a team, and there's a startup that are going to solve this problem. My name is Tay. I'm the co-founder of Tykn.tech. I usually introduce myself as the invisible man. I know that you can see me here, and I'm not gonna disappear or do some magic tricks. The title invisible is given by governments for people who do not have birth certificates. They're either born without a birth certificate or they lost it. In my case, I lost it in the Gulf War during the 1990. The Gulf War erupted. Iraq is invading Kuwait in greed for its resources, and the birth registries got destroyed. Now remember, the birth registries, they are central ledgers where this document proves that you exist. It's not only because you breathe and you eat and you talk, you exist. There is a government saying that. And we're keeping records in these centralized institutions. After the Gulf War in Kuwait, my family decided to go to Lebanon. This is where I was raised. I did my bachelor's in business management, and I got a job after my graduation to come to the Netherlands and work as a corporate trainer. Surrounded by software engineers and smart people, I got introduced into Bitcoin and blockchain technology in early 2012. I was living the Dutch dream, so I complain about the weather, I complain about the taxes, I drive a bicycle, and I buy my cheese and slices. 2014, my work contract was not renewed, and as all good dreams come, they come to an end. Yes, I am born in Kuwait. Yes, I lived in Lebanon. I worked in Dubai. I worked in the Netherlands. Yet, I'm not a citizen of any of these countries. My father is Syrian, so I carry the Syrian nationality. This is how it goes in the Middle East. You carry the nationality of your father. The only chance to stay in the Netherlands in 2014 were the crisis of the human migration, the top human migration that we had because of the Syrian war, was to apply for asylum in the Netherlands. And this was my journey. Although I pay Dutch taxes, and I can sing in Dutch even, it took me 2 years to finish my asylum process because it's paper-based, similar to my birth certificate. I moved between 5 refugee camps. I carried 14 kilograms of paper that identify me as a refugee, healthcare records, lawyer visits, and refugee identification papers. I traveled 987 kilometers in the Netherlands, so I can count Dutch cities and Dutch villages that the Dutch people themselves, they didn't know it exists. So the problem is obvious. Paper-based identity. It lacks the interoperability between different agencies, and the most importantly, which affects the people in this room, because sometimes after my talk, people come and tell me, you're talking about refugees and people in Africa. They clap, but nothing happens later. So why shall you care? You shall care because for your privacy and your data protection. This is where the moment we started Tykn. In the refugee camp, room number E18, Tykn was born, not only because I lost my birth certificate, but because I saw how many 150,000 Syrian refugees lost their academic certificates, lost their land titles. They lost so much valuable documents that I learned in my journey as a student at the University of Nicosia, blockchain can provide a solution for that. So what we did is, we're designing a digital identity system that leverage the technology of distributed ledgers, specifically sovereign. Sometimes you see this yellow book where all the companies are listed in with their addresses, telephone numbers, and all the details in it. We're making a similar book for NGOs and governments, where they are able to sign on digital identities of other people in a cryptographic way, in a way that I am in control of my identity and I decide with whom to share it. In the case of refugees, it will not allow them to vote, to travel, and to get a passport with it. But it will allow an NGO to mitigate these costs that I went through. The 987 kilometers, the 5 refugee camps, and the 14 kilograms of paper, because this is money. So with a digital identity that preserves the privacy of the user, that puts the user in first place, it gives him the control over whom to share these data with, these credentials. We are able to put a dent in this identity problem. The privacy aspect is built on an emerging technology called DIDs, Decentralized Identifiers. And together with a distributed ledger, you're able to make sure that if I am a refugee in, let's say, Greece, and I'm going to apply for asylum in the Netherlands, I'm able to share my credentials and share my history just like that. So we're able to build beneficiary apps where access to services now can happen, where one-time registration can happen, and most importantly, the data of refugees is safe. The journey is very simple. The refugee can download an app, fill in his details, and match with what he has said in his first interview, in his second interview, and his third interview, and build a score of reputation on the truth he has been saying. Similarly to field workers. And that is also a problem that NGOs are facing. Field workers in, let's say, the Caribbean islands, when they want to go and volunteer in South America, they cannot carry their credentials with them. So if I am a Red Cross field worker and I have my identity signed by the Dutch Red Cross, I can easily prove to the South American Red Cross that this trusted institution has verified me and I have worked for it the past 2 or 3 years. Most importantly, it can allow for project-level metrics. So now, you as a donor, you know where your money went for. When you donate this 50 euro every month, you know how percentage of that money went to a beneficiary, and how is the breakdown of the cost on identifying these people. This is not a work of one man. This is a work of a team. And in many projects that we see, bringing the team up fails in the presentations and fails in introducing new concepts. We managed to have a diverse team. We have more than 10 nationalities among those people. One of them is actually Randa, who is also a student at the University of Nicosia, and she was so close to lose her job as a banker in Lebanon because she's introducing disruptive technologies like Bitcoin in her country. We have a roadmap, and we are in fundraising process, not through an ICO, not through an STO, just normal equity, where we, the founders, me, Khalid Maliki, and Jimmy Snook, are able to share our equity with impact investors. Our platform will be launched in Q1, Q2 2019, and hopefully, and I'm sure that all these talks about tokenization and how hype is built around it, we're able to prove that actually Tykn is bringing hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tay, for a very inspiring speech. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation. And is it the first project worldwide which you are preparing now?
Yes, actually, we are active in the Caribbean island of St. Martin. So when St. Martin was hit by a hurricane 2 years ago, we decided, I was still in my refugee process at that time, and at the start of the accelerator program that we joined in Amsterdam, we decided to donate our tech stack to an NGO, and we happened to pick the attention of the Prince of Holland, Prince Constantine. Mm-hmm. And together, we were able to talk to the Dutch Red Cross and form a partnership with the 510 data team of the Dutch Red Cross. And now we are looking how can we build a digital identity system for the island of St. Martin. 40,000 people are living there. Every 2 years, the hurricane is happening. And every 2 years, NGOs have to come in the island and identify people again. So, yes, you put your passport in a locker when you go, but you always carry your smartphone with you. That's the only thing that you always keep in your back pocket or in your hand. Our vision is our identities will be living on our smartphones. It is just a way of how to make this secure and how to make this private. And this is why we looked at distributed technologies like Sovereign, where the connection between the NGO and the beneficiary is happening through a secure communication channel, but actually the data and the credentials are offline, stored in your phone. And each credential represents a decentralized identifier that connects to what this NGO has verified about you. So when I present my identity as a refugee to another camp, I can tell them, hey, I was identified by Camp A. You don't have to go through the same process again. The challenge is, how would you link the person to the phone? Now, advanced smartphones, they have fingerprints, they have iris scans, and you can use that authentication method in linking the physical person to the smartphone. But what we are against at is linking the fingerprint on the iris scan directly on the chain. And this is actually against GDPR law.
Okay, thank you. One more question.
So how do you decouple the identity, the person, from the phone if you don't have a link?
You're decoupling it using the emerging concept of decentralized identifiers. So it's like, think of it as your mobile number. Now, when you want to get a mobile phone, you're going to the, let's say, T-Mobile in the Netherlands, and you're asking them for a mobile number. They are issuing one for you. What we are saying is you can issue your own number. it doesn't mean anything about you unless a trusted organization comes and says, yes, I know this person, I've worked with him before, and I trust him. And once you do this signature, this connection, it will change your status like what the Twitter blue tick has as a verified person or as a public figure. So we're making everyone a public figure.
So you can reissue the same number?
Exactly. You can either reissue the same number, or you can issue a new number that is based on your private key, based on the first key that you have on your phone.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.